So the lodge version will have the hideout and the hideout and what's the other thing? The hideout and the lair built into it. And I think for the launch version, I'll have them having their individual banks kind of thing. So the individual models for their banks, because that's what the plan was. But for the castle version, it is not going to be that way. And I want to explain why I don't want to do it. It's because the castle version is going to be much bigger than the lodge. So one of the plans that I wanted to do for the lodge is it's already kind of working the way that I'm envisioning. The only thing is that now I got to figure out if the version that I am currently working on is going to actually work the way that I feel like it's going to do it. So what I mean is that the whole bottle ship area is going to be one cell now instead of two separate ones. The only thing now is that I got to figure out how am I going to make the local map look so though like you can't see that you've seen the local map from the exterior to the interior. Although it appears like it's two separate areas, but in actuality, it's the same area. So that there's no loading screen to it, is pretty much what I'm trying to get at. Oh, really? Bamboo? Anyway. Upgrade a village. Nice. Yeah, so once lair and hideout are done, that'll be awesome. That'll be majority of everything that I need done. And then once I can get the castle finished, that'll be awesome. Because then I'll have because then the castle version will literally have one of everything that I've ever actually worked on. And that includes like scripts and stuff like that too. The only difference, of course, being that I have to change all of their IDs. Because they're all with the old ones. That I think I used to do. And even I think the revised version of that too. So what I mean is that like the old sort of tag that I used was DMR for all of my mods. So though it would make him, since I don't think anybody actually used DMR in terms of their mod name or their sort of creator name, so I think it fit perfectly. And then later on, I found out that having DMR took way too long for me to go down the menu. So then I added an A in front of it, so ADMR. And then when I converted my mod to be used for my channel, I changed it to AXM, which stands for a Xilestar mod. And technically, the 0 in front of it is not really meant for anything. It's not a symbol or not symbolism of anything. It's just because of the fact that it's on the top now of the editing of anything, pretty much. And I've also just sort of like recategorized like each and every container and, well, not really static object yet, but I recategorized every storage of where they're actually located. Except for some of them. So every container that's actually in the lodge now begins with a 0AXM lodge, and then whatever that container is. So if that container, let's say, is a crate, it'll say crate 01, or barrel 01, or chest 01, or whatever. And I think same thing with the ship. The ship is like 0AXM ship, barrel, ship, sack, ship, whatever, right? And the same thing with Sanctuary. Except for Sanctuary, I didn't type all of Sanctuary. I just typed in Sanc. SANC. And that's just... So that way, though, like, it's short, but it gets the point across. See, the only one that I can't really put it shorthand is Hideout. Hideout, I have to put the full. Because Lair makes sense, but Hideout, see, I can't put, like, hide, because then it makes no... it's strange. 0AXM, hide chest. Like, what? What does hide chest mean? Is that where you store, like, your hides from wolves and stuff like that? Like, what does that mean? So if you put hideout chest, it goes, oh, it's the chest for the hideout. That makes sense. Yeah. But again, right now, I haven't really done any of that stuff. So the thing that I've been working on is actually going to be the platform in which that the castle is going to be rested upon. Because I found a mod that had a place in which that was actually pretty perfect. It just had an area in which that I didn't like, so I just removed it. And then I found out that I couldn't do it the fast method, which was just move it from where it was to a world space. Every time I tried to do that, it kept crashing the CS. So instead, what I had to do was that I had to slowly move everything over to the world space and make sure that all of it is in the same place. So with the help of the laptop, it made things much easier. I'm not even joking. It made things so much easier for it that I literally don't even know what I would have done if I didn't have the laptop. I probably wouldn't have done it. I probably would have put it on the back burner for so long that it probably wouldn't have been doing anything. So now all I gotta do is I gotta grab the test companion and move all of that stuff over to the new main mod. And then same thing with the castle. I gotta move it over towards that because obviously I couldn't move it before. So I gotta move the castle over, and then once the castle is over, then it'll be placed on top, and then I'll be happy. The castle will have a platform that it can stand on, and it'll be great. And then this version will also have NPCs, I think. The thing with the NPCs is that I gotta learn how NPCs and how to make them in general. So I want to have a trainer for each and every one of the majors of each and every one of the skills, not major skills, because it doesn't make any sense. Of each and every one of the skills, which makes sense. And because this sort of castle is going to be within the heart, I want to create the 3 ghosts of the Master Craftsman, the Master Enchanter, and the Master Spell or Master Sorcerer. Not Spell Master. That didn't make any sense. So what these 3 ghosts are technically supposed to do is that the blacksmith will repair your equipment just like a normal person. If you want to go to like a blacksmith area, you can ask them to repair your equipment at the cost of gold. And recharge station, which is the same thing, but you have to go to the Mages Guild and then you have to ask the recharger to recharge your items. Again, gold for the recharge. And for the sorcerer, which would give you all of the... Do I want vanilla spells or do I want all my modded spells? I think I would want all my modded spells. I think. Maybe, I'm not quite sure. Maybe I'll go with all vanilla spells that you can actually have. Not like all the ones that are just there specifically for certain NPCs to use at certain times. I'm trying to remember everything else too. And then of course, like the 3 ghosts will be hanging around in what is it? Will be hanging around in the castle because it makes sense for them to hang around there. And because this area was supposed to be like a city kind of thing, like a city in the sky, it has town guards, which I'm going to be changing to fit my sort of new area that I have them in. And such. And what I'm going to do is that for the guard captain, I'm going to make tests of that. So that way, though, instead of making two separate test NPCs and then confusing myself on how the hell I'm going to get it to work with the two different versions, I'll only have one, which will be awesome. So what do I mean by that? In case you were wondering, I wanted to create I wanted to create two different versions of tests. One that's an NPC that wanders around inside of the lodge in the heart, pretty much. That sort of is in like the rich dress kind of thing, and doesn't have her weapon or armor in her inventory, and is just wandering around, being like a pretty princess, pretty much. And then once you ask her to follow you, she will change into her warrior equipment, pretty much, which is pretty much just going to be a different NPC in general. Not too bad. And that's kind of the idea that I had, though. But now, if I just make her the guard captain, I only need to create one NPC. So that's good. So for the armor that Tess is currently wearing right now on the modded playthrough, I have split that into three different versions. One is going to be the armor in which that the king, quote unquote, will wear, which is exactly identical except for the enchantment is going to be slightly different. Going to go for more of a vanilla feel, pretty much. The companion one's going to change, but it's going to be more of like a guard captain kind of a thing. And then there's another one that's going to be for the normal guards, which is just going to be the companion armor, but a little bit weaker. So I think instead of boosting skills and attributes by like 50 or so, we're going to make it like 20 for the guards. So it's going to make them they're still going to be gods in a sense. They're just not going to be as strong. And same thing with the swords as well. Like, no change is going to happen to the companion ones, but for the guard ones, they're going to be slightly nerfed. So that they're not just... But they're still going to be technically considered gods, in a sense. And of course, I'll be creating, like... Let's see, there's 21 skills, so technically 21 NPCs will need to be made. And I want to create all the random characters that I would love to have in the thing. And I think that's like another 12 NPCs. But the 12 are going to be in the castle, though. And I think between all of the locations, I think I'm going to have all the trainers be like randomly around. So at the very least, like the whole place will be populated. Yeah, it'll be populated. So at the very least, though, you're not going to go to like an empty room, or you're not going to be like into an empty castle and go, wow, this place would look a lot better if there was, I don't know, people. Instead, you're going to find like both of them pretty much. So that'll be fun. Trying to figure out. Okay, where's the village? I need it to be daytime. There is one. But yeah, so that area is going to be very nice looking. the plan is that for the original mod that we're going to be grabbing is going to be the whole level. So the level 25 mod is going to be the original mod. And even then, I'm going to talk about it. Like what I've changed and what I'm going to be adding to the whole table, pretty much. So though at the very least, though, it's not going to be like a one-to-one copy. It's going to be different. Because what they put at the top of the area that I'm going to be putting the castle instead was the Alien sort of like palace thing. Technically, we haven't seen that in the modded playthrough, but maybe we did in the mod playthrough. I'm not quite sure. Well, maybe we did. Maybe we did see it in a mod. I'm not quite sure. But we will. And I typically didn't like the look of that top area for the most part. So I kind of just deleted everything. But that isn't going to be like the final look or anything like that. That's just where it is right now, is that everything is deleted. And then I'll slowly start putting things back in